Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome to one of our first joint webinars between Celestial Systems and CoTactic. We are both companies located in Vancouver, BC, and we're proud to bring to you our first joint webinar. This webinar is going to be focusing on boosting your accessibility, but more specifically, boosting your accessibility in terms of data and bridging your users to that data, specifically with the use of mobile technology. Okay. I'd like to give you a brief overview and a brief agenda of what we're going to be covered today. We're going to give you an overview on Celestial Systems. We'll talk about what is data accessibility, give you a brief landscape on where mobility is heading, what are some of the common problems that people have in the mobility space at this time, and what businesses are trying to do. We'll then give you a couple solutions from our experience, what other companies have done, and we'll be happy to share that with you. Okay. So let me first give you a brief about Celestial Systems as a company. We're primarily a full design to develop, to deploy application services company located in Vancouver, BC. We have 3 offices worldwide, 2 in India and 1 in Vancouver, BC, which is our headquarters. And we primarily focus on holistic web and mobile enterprise application development. In our estimation, any application that gets developed consists of 5 major parts: the front end, the back end, and of course testing and doing a thorough QA on what you've developed, coupled with deploying it to the cloud using DevOps strategies and then hosting it on the cloud afterwards. So each application, whether it's a web application or a mobile application, encompasses all of these 5 areas. And we will talk more specifically about mobility and some of our experience in mobile application development, again, pertaining to data accessibility as a key issue. Let me give you a brief about myself. Like I said in the intro, my name is Rahul Raina. I'm a VP of Business Development at Celestial Systems. I've been in the tech industry for a long time, and I've been involved in Celestial Systems for about 12 years now. And I do oversee a lot of our business development activity worldwide, and hands-on manage our Celestial mobile initiative in our company. So I do get to interact with many of our different clients, worldwide. Predominantly, our clients are in North America, but they range from your small 5-person startup all the way to a Fortune 100 enterprise, and everything in between. So we benefit by getting a wide array of different experiences and working with different clients at all kinds of levels. Now I would like to pass the virtual microphone, over to my good dear friend and colleague Gonzalo Ortiz, and he'll give a brief about CoTactic as a company and also himself. Gonzalo?
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks first of all, Rahul and everyone in Celestial for the invite. So just to tell you a little bit about ourselves at CoTactic as a company, we are a Vancouver-based development company. First of all, we also specialize on digital marketing and small to medium-sized businesses. Mainly, right? We do, as you can see here, design, development, and the digital marketing side of things like online engagement and search engine optimization and more. We are a company that was founded in 2010. Now we have grown to be in Canada, in the U.S., in the Seattle area, and in other markets as well, like Latin America and throughout the continent. So we're very glad to be here and be part of this mobile initiative by Celestial and hopefully integrate some of our clientele and customer base to it. right?
Awesome.
Um, to tell you a little bit about myself, if you go through the next slide, again, this is Gonzalo Ortiz, right? I've been in the industry for about a little bit more than 8 years now. That like it shows there, and most of that time has been with CoTactic. We've helped a great number of businesses, automate their processes, engage better with their customers, and the mobile side of things, especially now, it's one focus that we really want to grow in our business. Hopefully, with the partnership of Celestial, who are a great team in development and strategy for this.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Gonzalo. Thanks for the intro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
as I mentioned, we want to focus our thoughts and our ideas on data accessibility, especially with regards to mobile technology. But the most important question is, what is data accessibility? And the answer is, it's a lot of different things to different people. So, the word accessibility can have different meanings for each different person, right? So some of the normal things that we see, again, with regards to mobility, could be stuff as, communication can be deemed as accessibility. Getting access to your data, having a data repository, tracking people using GPS, or tracking items using GPS could mean accessibility to you. Having data at your fingertips can be data accessibility. Just getting in touch with the support center and talking to somebody, and asking questions or getting clarifications could be your definition of accessibility. So my point is, accessibility can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people, and I'm sure our audience today that's listening, each one will have their own version of accessibility. And the point of this webinar, this discussion today, is not so much for us, for Celestial or CoTactic, to tell the other person what accessibility is, but the point more is so that people can start thinking in terms of their own company or their own business use case, what accessibility really truly means to them. Okay? And accessibility, because it's such a widely applied theme, that it spans all kinds of industries. So you see this in e-commerce, to healthcare, to finance, hospitality, and the list goes on and on, really. And again, the urge would be is, we want to get our audience, our viewers, to start thinking in the lines of, okay, well, what does accessibility mean to me? What does it mean to my company? What problems can I solve using mobile technology that will help relieve some accessibility issues that we may be having? Now, another thing I want to sort of make clear, the point of this webinar and this discussion, again, is so that people or companies that have pre-existing applications, whether they're web or any other solutions, people should start thinking about how they can use mobile to enhance their already existing applications and solutions. We know that this has been a very, very challenging year and a very different year for obvious reasons. But the way we sort of work and the way we live has changed drastically, and it will probably remain changed for the foreseeable future. But I think the most important part that came out of this change is accessibility of data for users became very, very crucial and important. So if I'm sitting at home or at a remote location and I'm not going into the office, I need to be able to access my data, my information, that will help me do my job. And that's sort of the line we want people to start thinking about a little bit, is, as our working behavior has changed drastically, how can we improve or enhance our existing applications or our existing solutions, and provide better accessibility, whatever that definition of accessibility is, but provide better accessibility of data to your users. Before we sort of jump in a little bit further, I do want to give a slight brief of the mobile landscape. I think with COVID-19 and the way our working behavior has completely changed, mobile is going to be very, very important as we move forward. And as you can see by this graph here, that by 2023, you're looking at about 935 billion US dollars of revenue just generated from mobile applications. And this is not really a linear growth. This is more of an exponential growth, right? So as we work from home more, as our cell phones, our smartphones get more and more powerful, we start to rely on them as high computing devices. And there are a lot of benefits that we can unlock from using mobile phones, from using high power smartphones. Things like accelerometer or health kits, or integrating with voice recognition tools like G Now for Google and Siri for Apple. Taking advantage of all those things, our reliance on mobile phones in general is going to go up, and this graph essentially just displays that point. Moving forward, I want to talk a little bit more about the mobile landscape. Now, there are a lot of different points, and I'm sure most of you guys already are well aware of them. But there are a couple of things that I would like to point out, which to me were a bit eye catching. I think the first one would be is, on average, the approximate number of applications a normal person has on their phone is about 100 in the USA, which is sounds astounding, and that just kind of shows the appetite that we have for mobile applications in general, right? And then again, 57% of the entire contribution of mobile apps today in the total media usage, right? That's over half of everything we do in digital media is stemming from mobile. And then things like how often we check our phone. 63 times is the frequency of a smartphone that is checked by a typical mobile user, right? Many even check right minutes before they go to sleep. So if you're thinking in terms of having, from a work perspective, or again going back to the accessibility of data issue, having that data on the fingertips for these people, especially now, since our working style is quite different, is very, very crucial. And we need to think about empowering them with this data so that they have the data in their hand, in their grasp, which is easy to access, so that they can continue to do their job and more. So, like I said, for the purposes of this webinar, we want to think about more from a B2B perspective. That's sort of where our primary experience lies. And again, we're not saying that you can create your own Slack, or you can create your own Zoom, or create your own Microsoft Teams, or anything like that. But we're saying, let's start thinking in terms of the existing solutions that we have in a company, given the different business dynamics that we have, given the way we work differently now. What can we do better to increase our internal communication, to make our employee engagement better, and of course, give our users the possibility of using relevant data. Okay, and these are the three main things that most businesses struggle with: communication, engagement, and data accessibility. Equipping employees with relevant data. Okay, so most of the companies that we worked with, and you'll see soon in the next few slides, all of them, all the custom solutions that they create, all the custom mobile applications that they create, are addressing these different problems. Of course, they're doing it in their own type of way, which is very custom to what their needs are. but at the end of the day, they're making their communication better, they're making their engagement better, and they're giving better data accessibility. Okay. Some of the other more complex use cases that we see that people try to address through mobile applications could be complex purchase cycle, really trying to stand out online, provide real-time customer service, et cetera, et cetera. So these are things that we often do see, but like I said, the top three, which have been highlighted in the blue, red, and green, they're the ones that we do see most often, and most of the mobile applications that we build for our clients are addressing these needs for sure. Okay. Now again, why mobile? I think with mobile, there's a lot of opportunity to unlock a lot of features using the power of the smartphone. We have things like facial recognition. We can shop from where we are. If you're looking at an e-commerce domain, there's DeX for Samsung Note phones, which allows you to basically have your phones function like a desktop. So all in all, mobile phones have the full capability to let you do whatever it is that you want to do, and applications just bridge that. And that's why more and more transactions are going to mobile, more and more engagement is going to mobile, and overall more digital traffic is coming from mobile at the end of the day. So we talked about some challenges about B2B and what we normally see. Now we don't want to give a specific solution, but what we think works best is we can show you and show our audience how other people solved these problems. Now, the first company that I'm going to talk about is an application that was built called CrewCord for one of our clients. CrewCord was built on top of an existing web application. So this client already had a web application in place, and they wanted to create a mobile application to again improve communication, increase engagement, etc. So CrewCord is essentially a real-time team collaboration and project management platform. And it allows people to communicate, allows people to track leaves, managers to communicate with employees, and so on and so forth. Some of the results that came from this application, there was a lot of better time management, there was increased visibility into operations, and of course, faster delivery on projects. Now, let me show you exactly what CrewCord did. So they created three very key systems. The first one they created was a task management system, which had workflows and assignments, and where managers and employees could engage with one another. The second major thing they created was a leave tracker system, where an employee can request for leaves. If the leave was approved or rejected, if it was rejected, the reason why it was rejected, and have the full history of all their leaves, of all their accepted leaves and rejected leaves, etc. And then they created a notice board system, which allowed HR and key management in the company to do company-wide announcements. So if there was a new hire being welcomed into the company, this would get posted on the notice board system. If there's an important COVID-19 related newsletter that they want to send out, this would get posted on the notice board system. This was also directly integrated with the email system. So as soon as you would post something on the notice board, an email would also get sent out to the entire team, notifying them of the same thing. So as you can see, each of these modules or functionalities or features or whatever you want to call it, they address the improvements in communication, they address improvements in engagement with the users, and they give access to data which previously the users did not have. So they're again hitting on those three main points. So this was the example of CrewCord.
Hey, Rahul, if I can just jump in here for a quick question.
Yes, Gonzalo. Yes.
From CrewCord, one of the things that I was wondering, especially now that we're looking at the case studies, is What do you think was, for example, with Groupboard, what do you think was the tipping point that made them go from, whatever they were using before, maybe a web app or, an online platform, just as a web application, to a whole mobile, more accessible platform for their users? What do you think was that main reason, or was it a number of reasons? What do you think was the tipping point?
Firstly, that's a very good question. So I think the main reason for them was they were already engaging with an online platform, like I mentioned. They were already doing the emails, but a lot of times they would send messages out or they would send new information out, but the employees would either not read them or they would not get notified. But with the mobile application, every time a new information was posted, they would get push notifications. So the employees always had that information at hand, and it's a dedicated mobile application for them, so that all their data is segregated and properly into one place, as opposed to when you send one email and each employee is receiving about 100 emails per day, it sort of gets lost in the whole mix. So they thought that most people have their cell phone on them all the time, which is true for everybody. So they were able to interact a little bit better with their employees, and they actually noticed that people were posting more as well. Conversely, so employees could engage back with management or with HR through the application. So they saw some better communication that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any other question?
No, that's perfect. I was really just wondering about it, really what made them change, right? And that's perfect. I mean, the accessibility and especially the notices, the push notifications that mobile gives you. That's perfect. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so let me move on to the next case study. So this is a company called Teamsters 213. It's actually a trucking union, and they came to us with a very very specific problem where they wanted to track the locations of their drivers for a variety of reasons. They wanted a notice board for their all their union members, and they wanted an online complaint mechanism where people could file complaints and grievances and have the full history of everything that was going on. So they already had existing an existing solution in place. It was fairly rudimentary. A lot of it was done manually as well. But then we ended up moving them over to a fully functioning mobile application, and they were able to do many many different things. So couple results that came out was there was a 60% reduction in on-field queries, this is a huge relief on the managers. A lot of increase in efficiency for issue resolution and problem solving, because everything was concrete, it was digital, it was available to anybody at any time. The managers had full insight into where all the truck drivers were, etc. So there was a lot of increased visibility that they had. Now let me show you exactly what they did. So again, kind of going back to those three key points of communication, engagement, and data accessibility, they created three really important features which were servicing their problems. The first thing was communication was a big issue within the company. So we created a direct messaging platform, and we also created a notice board system for them where the managers could post newsletters or company-wide announcements, etc. Every time a message would get sent, there would be a push notification that would come in, make it very easy and interactive for the union members to interact with the union management staff. Okay. The other thing which we implemented was real-time member tracking. So, like I said, management wanted to track the whereabouts of truck drivers. And anytime a truck driver was in an incorrect or restricted location, the manager would get a notification, a message sent to them. This was a really huge thing for them, because now all of a sudden they don't have to be in 10 different job sites at the same time, because that's physically impossible. and they can keep a track of all their truck drivers at all the time. So what that basically did was, over time, the misuse that was initially happening from the truck drivers automatically went down, and managers were able to keep a better tab on everything that was going on. Okay. And then we created a full-fledged database for them where we had all their information about name, profile, their driving experience, what car they drive, what license plate is their truck, what trailers do they have, how many trailers do they have, and everything was stored in a digital database which could be accessed by management and exported as a Excel or PDF at any point in time. Okay. One of the other things that we created, which I think was very important, was an online grievance or complaint system where drivers could, if they were to file a complaint before picking up the phone and doing it manually, they would call their manager or whoever. But now they could do it all online, take a picture, write a couple of comments, and store everything. And then the complaint would reach the manager. The manager can move the complaint to in progress or resolved or rejected or whatever, and that gave full visibility for the drivers as well. The drivers knew whether their complaint was being looked at, their grievance was being looked at. So I think that helped in improving communication as well there.
And Rahul, a quick question on this one. On Teamsters, for example, you mentioned they had a web app as well, right? They were using that before. It seems to be very common. So what were they using on that web app? Like, how was it built, or what was it built on? And how do you think that influenced, I guess, your guys' decision on what to build the app with, or, what framework, or, how did you guys go about that?
Yeah, so I think that's a very good question. So their online web application was actually quite built on old school Microsoft technologies. So it wasn't the most up to date, and it wasn't necessarily on the latest front end web technologies either. But I think from a technology perspective, what really influenced us to make the technology decision that we did for this customer was they wanted, of course, everything in iOS and they wanted the mobile application in iOS and Android. And then we've been sort of playing around with Flutter for a couple of years. So we built the application in Flutter. The benefit of that was that we were able to do both platforms very quickly. And time was a real constraint because they wanted this application into the hands of their users very quickly. So time to market for us was a really big reason to choose Flutter. And since they were supporting both the platforms, I think that was a good choice. And from a capability perspective, Flutter was able to do everything from a functionality perspective that they were looking for. So luckily we didn't have any hiccups there. So yeah, that worked out well.
Great. Perfect.
Okay. Awesome. And now I'm going to move on to our last case study. Again, this was a customer that has a web application already. And this company, it's a SaaS mobile application. And this product called Schedule Pro actually does shift management and leave management for part-time workers and full-time workers for many different companies. So what we did was we created a mobile application for them, which again, for a lot of part-time workers, having something on your fingertips that you can very easily use instead of having to go log in, on a web platform was much easier, and having a very easy to use interface because when you're booking shifts or taking time on and off. The user experience has to flow very easily and has to be very simple. So that was one of the main motivations behind this mobile application. And then again, some quick results that we had was 80% improved in task management, huge jump in time to market, about 70%. So that was great. Now let me talk more specifically. Again, following the same trend of communication, engagement, and data accessibility, they created three main features for this product. One was the schedule management, so where we made it very easy to schedule shifts, give visibility into people's work roadmap. We enrolled a bunch of sophisticated push notifications so that employee knows when they're on shift, when they're off shift, their shift's canceled, any sort of message that needs to go to them, and make sure that the employee gets it. Give them the ability to interact from the mobile application as well, and we send all those kinds of notifications. And the last module was the leave management piece, where you can request time off or book time off, and if you're going on a holiday sometime here or there, just make it very easy so your manager knows, and then the system would automatically prompt you to look for other resources because so and so person is not available for 2 weeks or whatever. So it was a very easy, simple to use application. And we made it. The user experience was very important. It was clean and simple, so that people could use it in a very easy and practical manner. Yeah. Yeah. So again, all of these examples that we've shown you today, they kind of harp on the same line. They again in each their own way, because so what accessibility means to crew cord, what accessibility means to Teamsters and to Schedule Pro are three very different things. But at the base of it, at the heart of it all, they're kind of all hitting on the same points. The functionality and the look and feel, of course, is going to be different to each person, but they're always generally going back to improving communication, improving engagement, and equipping users with the really good accessible data. Okay. Some of the additional use cases we see that are out there in the world that we've done some projects on. Some customers want extensive analytics through their mobile applications, real-time synchronization, and this could mean a wide variety of things depending on what they're actually doing. Different language support, and of course, very advanced and intense push notification systems to really boost up the customer engagement. Now, so over the last 30 minutes or so, we've been talking about accessibility, but I think the main, one thing that if I could ask our audience to take away would be is easily accessible data is the only bridge between your business and your customers. So what I want people to go back and think is, from our perspective, from our company perspective, what can we do using mobility, knowing that our work situation is different, knowing that everybody's working remotely a lot more? How can we equip users and build that bridge using mobile technology, using mobile applications, and connect and create a better connection between our users and our data? And I think if we can get to that level, if we can start, progressing towards that level, then automatically, you'll start to see improved communication, increased productivity, more self-sufficiency within the company. And of course, each solution will be different, will be catered to whatever each company's needs are. So that would be my big takeaway from this webinar today.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and if I can offer as well my 2 cents on the quick takeaway for this webinar. I mean, in whatever process you might find yourself in your business, I think it's worth taking a look at what could be done to enhance the accessibility of data between your customers, between your employees, between everyone involved within that process, right? And take a look at what we could do for efficiency, for even for business intelligence, to know exactly what's going on with every single process. And the answer to that a lot of the times is mobile development, is having data at your fingertips, is going through this process. So I think it's very much worth taking a look at those and maybe looking at this as a possibility, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, those are all very good points. Yeah, and totally agree with whatever you said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to thank everybody for their time today. I know, like I mentioned earlier, this is the first webinar that Celestial Systems and CoTactic is doing jointly, and that myself, Rahul, and Gonzalo are doing jointly. But we want to hear more from you in the future. Like I said, since this is the first one, we want to continue to improve on the content that we bring. I think most of the content we're gonna bring in the future might be more technical, but we would love to hear from you on any feedback or any topics that you might be interested in hearing about a bit more. Of course, within the mobile domain, and then we'd be happy to cater to that if we can. And if you need to get in touch with us, our emails and cell phones and our company websites are here. So please contact us if you need anything. Gonzalo?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to say too, thank you everyone for joining, for listening. We'll go through questions, but if you have any other at any point, feel free to contact either the Celestial team or the CoTactic team. Myself, my information is there as well. So I'd be happy to hear from you.
Awesome. All right. I think with that, we can open the floor for some questions.
Mm-hmm.